Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Game Changer. I'm Mariam Zia. In today's program, we will be exploring the heartwarming and multifaceted relations between Pakistan and Italy. When we talk about Pakistan's diplomatic ties with Italy, of course, they were established back in 1948. And today, Pakistan and Italy are collaborating in a number of fields in which we will be talking about these fields in today's program. When we talk about Pakistani diaspora in Italy, it is more than 200,000 Pakistanis that are living in Italy. They are contributing to the country and are giving remittances back to Pakistan as well. We will be talking about the trade and investment opportunities that exist between both the countries. Of course, when we talk about Italy, it's third largest trading partner in EU, and we will also be exploring about the multilateral cooperation between Pakistan and Italy. To discuss this and more, we are joined in the studios by Mr. Shehjar Khan, who is expert in international affairs. Welcome to the program. We are also joined by Dr. Zafar Nawaz Jaspal, who is expert in international affairs. Welcome to the program. We are joined online by Dr. Hussain Javed, who is economist and expert in international affairs. Welcome to the program. Dr. Jaspal, let me start with you. When we talk about Pakistan's relations with Italy, can you tell us about how the historical relations between both countries have evolved over time, and what is the current status of diplomatic ties between Pakistan and Italy as of now?
I think that in the last 75 years, Pakistan and Italian relations have, you can say, systematically improved. We are celebrating our 75 years diplomatic year of this year, and I was going through the literature and I found the Ambassador Andreas, who is currently here. He came up that there is a joint commission of trade opening in Pakistan today, but historically, if you see, the cultural, political, economic and other multifaceted relations have improved so much that today around 200,000 people are in Italy, Pakistani diaspora. Some figures say 180,000 and plus, let's say 200 plus, and they are living there with their families and contributing in our economy. Definitely they are welcome there, and that's why they are living and doing their jobs. Then the second important thing is that Italy has assisted us not only in the non-traditional security addressing the challenges, but also it assists us in the drone technology or all these kind of things. Today, if I'm not wrong, one of the Italian former army chief or armed forces chief, he is in Pakistan and he's discussing with Pakistan about the option of how Pakistan and Italy cooperate in the maritime, especially in the shipyard. And tomorrow he will be speaking at the Institute of Strategic Study on a similar topic. My point here is that if we see today, and then the most important thing is that Italian embassy at the diplomatic enclave in Islamabad was a huge setup, but they demolished and they are building it as a new with a more space. And the reason which they gave, they said that our previous embassy or setup was not enough to cater our bilateral relations in a manner that people's movement from Italy to Pakistan or from Rome to Islamabad or vice versa. So they are improving their infrastructure in Pakistan. That is also a reflection that our relations have systematically grew.
Right, of course, this has systematically grew, but Mr. Shehjar, let's talk about the early days of diplomatic ties between Pakistan and Italy. Can you tell us what were the key factors that contributed to the initial establishment of relations between both the countries? Of course, we know that Italy is also an important member of EU as well.
So, Mariam, historically, Italy has always supported Pakistan's bid into the European Union, especially when it comes to the GSP+. When we talk about this large diaspora in Italy, it basically also played a very important role in the reconstruction of Italy after the Second World War. And then after that, they chose to stay there. They're contributing to Italian economy, and they're contributing to Pakistani economy as well, because even in the last year, the remittances that the workers, the Pakistani-based workers in Italy sent to Pakistan were over $1 billion. So it's a very important source of foreign direct investment that comes from Italy to Pakistan. Other than that, Italian cooperation and Italian help in Pakistan's manufacturing industry is huge. When it comes to a lot of our industries, we have to like take note that Pakistan is, exports a lot of textile garments to Europe, and all of that like textile is basically made on Italian machinery. When it comes to marble sector,
Right.
Italian marble is like
we
very
will be
famous.
talking about economic relations and the key aspects later in the program, but let's about the political. Let's talk about the political relations between both the countries. Can you tell us about some recent exchange of delegates between both the countries and how they have contributed to enhancing the collaboration in other sectors?
So there is a joint economic commission that's been established between Pakistan and Italy, and the 5th meeting of that joint economic commission took place end of May this year, and in that and it happened in Rome on the 29th and 30th of May. So
yes.
during that like joint economic commission, there were like a lot of like areas and sectors that were discussed, and they will like make the crux of the cooperation between Italy and Pakistan. And again in that meeting, the main discussion was based around cooperation when it comes to climate change, development which is like sustainable, and a lot of like areas when it comes to agriculture and manufacturing as well. So these were like the some areas that were discussed, and these economic cooperation commission, this also led to the establishment of the trade commission between Italy and Pakistan, which has been established this year. Previously, it was like more bilateral in nature, and now it's been institutionalized in the embassy of Italy. So they're also like having meetings very consistently with all the chambers of commerce in Pakistan, and they are coming up with like various sectors in which this cooperation can be enhanced further.
Right, and we will be talking about that as well. But Dr. Stan, let's talk about the historical relations between both the countries and how they have evolved over time. Can you tell us about some of the key events or significant factors that have contributed to the enhancement of relations between Pakistan and Italy?
One of the most important thing is like that as Italy is geographic location. So located at the center of the Mediterranean Sea and with the 40 major ports and 42 airports, Italy is a strategic gateway for the trade between the Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East. So that is a geostrategic opportunity for the Pakistan, and of course for the Italy as well. So if I talk about the relations with the GDP of 17 trillion, euros, and the population over 60 million. So Italy is the world's 9th largest economy, and Italy is the one of the only 5 countries in the world who manufacture product have an export trade surplus over 47 million and 2.9 million worldwide market share. So that would give you the date of October 2017. And Italy is the second largest manufacturer in the Europe and the fifth top manufacturer in the world. And also Italy is the first European producer of the pharmaceutical. As far as the open market, it is very much important that how they create the relationship with the Pakistan or any other or in the whole of the Europe, why we are very much into with the Italy. So they have the open market. The trade weight average tariff rate common among the EU members is 3.2%, and more than 600 EU mandate non-tariff measures are in force. So foreign investment is not generally screened and economy is largely open. So the financial sector is stable, but non-performing loans remain the problem. But the sectorial sectors of the interest in the market opportunity, Italy is recognized for being one of the main agriculture player, which is very much good, and leading the production of the rice, fruit, and vegetables and wine. Of course, Pakistan is looking forward for the foreign seeds in our cultivation. So what we are doing is that even in the any of the area, well, as the agriculture sector, and then is the what we talk about is the very important one is the World Bank estimates about 4% of the Italian labor force is employed in approximate 1.1 million farm from have an average size of the 11 hectare. So by this we can conclude that much of their interest in agriculture, and most of them is they wanted to be us with on in the agriculture. So additionally, Italy is world leading
Right,
producer of the
right.
wine.
So agricultural
That is
sector
another
is very
part.
important, but let's talk about some of the key agreements or initiatives that in your understanding have helped in boosting the trade volume between Pakistan and Italy.
So bilateral trade agreements, like there are a lot many trade agreement. Recently, would like to talk about the AICE. So this is the Italian Agency of the Development Cooperation, which is very much important. That agency for the development cooperation, AICS, Islamabad, he says in his keynote address, explained that AIC undertakes several multilateral sector activities in Pakistan and Afghanistan, and the agency strive to align Italy with the European and the global partner respective endeavors of the development. And the AICS model complies with the need for more innovative form of cooperation involving the methodological flexibility necessary in the continuously evolving scenarios. So AIC has many flagship programs and projects in Pakistan that targets a holistic set of the objective and create research, education, labor linkages, and for the effective cooperation. In particular, the development cooperation action seeks to improve resilience adaptation to climate change and
Right.
alongside foster the prevention of the natural culture heritage, which is very much important. And
Right.
one
We will be
more,
talking
the
about
last
that,
point I
of
would
course.
like to take on. The last point I would like to take on is the inclination toward the female literacy, along with the raising awareness on the cultural heritage and prevention of the natural heritage in Pakistan, which is very much important.
Right, of course. We will be talking about cooperation in developmental sectors as well as tourism later in the program. But let's talk about the economic ties between both the countries. Of course, remittances coming from the Pakistani diaspora is very important. And when we talk about export volume and remittances, they exceed around $2 billion from Italy. What are some of the investment opportunities that Pakistan provide to the Italian business community in Pakistan and that can help us get FDI?
So Mariam, that's a very good question. So Pakistan's trade volume with Italy is like over $1 billion, and around 900 million comes back in the form of remittances.
So that
on
is
overall,
huge.
it's huge. So overall, it's like around $2 billion annually.
Yes.
So what are the areas in which Pakistan is basically cooperating with Italy when it comes to exports? Mainly textiles, garments, a lot of like leather products and shoes, like, you know, and leather like goes to Italy. All of these products are, as I mentioned earlier, developed mainly on Italian machinery.
Right.
So Italy like cooperates with Pakistan in terms of like bringing its like expertise and the key machinery that is used to develop these products, which have to be at a standard and at which you can export it to the European Union. And you know how European Union standards are like one of the best in the world. So that like cooperation comes from Italy, in which Pakistanis gain the knowledge and the expertise to develop value added products that basically go and compete globally.
But these are some of the traditional sectors. Are there some potential areas beyond these traditional sectors in which both countries can collaborate?
So in terms of growth, we are cooperating a lot with Italy. And even in agriculture, there are like a lot of like areas which Pakistan historically hasn't even explored. And that's where Italian cooperation comes in. And one of the very famous projects that Pakistan has been working successfully with Italy was on developing the olive culture project. So as we know, Pakistan's like agricultural land is very conducive for the development of the olive crops. And historically, Pakistan has never basically gone in that sector. So Italy has like provided Pakistan with the technology, the seeds and everything to basically grow. And olive is like a product that is used globally. And there is a huge export potential in Pakistan if we can develop olives and then export them to the European market. So that is where Italy again is like cooperating. Other than that, even during COVID times, we knew that a lot of like industry had shrunk. And a lot of like international orders were like, you know, not being fulfilled. Pakistan was the only country that was still providing Italy with footwear, and that order is like increased by over 20%. So this is how much the Italian market is dependent on Pakistani market.
So are there some other specific joint ventures or collaborations between both the countries that could help enhance the economic ties?
So currently it's like more trade-based and economic cooperation, and those economic cooperations are in the areas that are very traditional. But then there's also the development arm of Italy. It's called the Italian Development Corporation.
That is very important.
Supports Pakistan in basically a lot of like rural development. It supports Pakistan in terms of like building climate resilience. Also something very important to Pakistan is water management. So that's where they also like support Pakistan. So that's like a lot of like cooperation. And during that cooperation, we have to also keep in mind that over the years, Italy has spent over €1 billion when it comes to development cooperation with Pakistan as well.
Of course, so development cooperation is very important. So, Dr. Jaspal, in your opinion, what are some of the developmental challenges that both Pakistan and Italy are facing, and how Italy is helping Pakistan in some of the sectors that Mr. Shehryar has already mentioned, and what are some of the other challenges that both countries can collaborate, maybe on global or multilateral fora to address those challenges?
I think that let's start with the systematically Pakistan and Italy has a consensus on the how to combat the terrorism or non-traditional security challenges. Italy is an important member of the NATO, and the NATO has a defense college in Rome, and our officers are participating. Pakistan is not a member of the NATO but also a member of the partner states, NATO's partners, and within that you can say Pakistani officers are going in Rome, getting the training, and that is a very important area. Second important thing is that the Italian government and Pakistani government has a consensus on a number of the international issues where there could be a collaboration, though nowadays it seems that the buzzword in the international economic arena is Belt and Road Network, what we call it, Belt and Road Network, or
Belt and
BRI.
Road Initiative, yes.
And BRI is very significant, and the Italians have a great interest in it, and they are investing, and that is the area in which we can attract them, because our CPEC is a flagship project of the BRI, and within that we are open for a third party investment, and Italians investment could be there. Of course there is a challenge because Italy is a member of the EU, and it has to maintain or follow the EU standards, rules and regulations, and within that of course we are enjoying from the EU, what you call it, the special trade or this kind of the thing, but all the EU countries including Italy is asking Pakistan that Pakistan shall improve its quality of the product. So definitely that this is a big question mark. Though at the bilateral level we can produce a lot of things, but if we cannot improve the quality, and for improving the quality we need a technological innovation or investment where Italy can assist, but at the same time we have to also bring it. But one of the biggest challenges, and it's not only for the Italian investors, you can say in Pakistan, it's also for the other European countries investors, and that is law and order situation in the country. Now we are improving, we are coming out of this war zone, but being a neighbor of the Afghanistan, and for 40 plus years war in Afghanistan, definitely it affected our socio-economic culture as society and society and state security, and the investors are shy in that context, but definitely it will improve. My final word on this is that Italy and Pakistan is our universities have a good cooperation, especially in the biological sciences domain, and where we can learn a lot. So from a minor technology to the bigger technology, from automobile industry to the other industries, and similarly in the agriculture sector. There was time when this tractor, Fiat tractor, was very attractive for us, and so it means that all these products, there are many areas in which we are cooperating, but of course there is a room for improvement, and it's not enough, we have to further work hard.
Of course we have to further work hard, but when we talk about the enhancement of ties between Pakistan and Italy, recently both countries signed Pakistan-Italy strategic engagement plan as well. How do you think this strategic engagement plan enhanced the defense ties between both the countries, and what are some of the areas in which both countries can collaborate further?
I think that when we were signing, and if I'm not wrong, the 5th round of that took place a few months back in Rome.
Yes, in Feb 2023 we signed this agreement.
I was referring. In that context, look, when in these kind of strategic plan, it's always a multi-dimensional. But as you raise a question regarding the defense cooperation, in the area, Italy is very good in military technology, small and in certain areas like drones technology.
So this plan is not specific to the defense cooperation.
It's my understanding. It's more
multifaceted,
multi-purpose. But of course, as you have raised, but within the defense, we have not a very impressive cooperation, but still we are importing some. You can say Italian produced military hardwares. And Italy itself is not much in Italian. I mean to say the Italian military industrial complex is lesser attractive in that area, but of course it's very attractive for us, especially in the drones technology or in the other UAVs. And definitely there are many other systems where we can, because we have to keep in mind that there are certain spare parts of the military highway which the other states are not going to, and there we can cooperate. And as you know that Italy is very good in technology, and especially in automobile and those engines making, and you are using, and entire warfare is now moving from a foot soldiers to the, you can say, armored and vehicles or
Latest
more mobility.
technologies, of course.
And in those areas we can work together and find out. And definitely there is a lot of, you can say, there are many opportunities for Pakistan
Of
and
course,
India
and there's
to cooperate in a defense sector. Not but defense sector we have to keep in mind. There is something when you are strategic ally, that means that you are cooperating or you have an identical enemy. But in a defense cooperation, it's a more win-win situation, and especially you are strengthening your, you can say, armed forces with the technological input, theoretically and practically, and in that context, Italy is a useful country for Pakistan.
Of course. So, in your opinion, how does Italy actually views Pakistan's regional stance regarding different, political issues within the region and beyond?
We have to not forget the Italians. One of the major industries, you can say, these clothes and all these kind of the things. And Italians are very sharp in this context, and they will not come up very clearly on certain issues, and we must not mind it, because they have to also attract or keep in mind the 1 billion plus market in our neighborhood. But generally, in principle, we have found that Italians are more, or Italy is more nearer to the Muslim countries, especially in the African region like Italy. And they were before, when, no, not Italy and Libya. And Italy is reluctant in violation of the United Nations norms and principle. But we have to keep in mind that Italy's defense or strategic policies are very much in line with the NATO, and NATO is in line with the US.
Of course. So, let's talk about multilateral cooperation between Pakistan and Italy. Dr. Hassan, can you tell us some of the instances in which both countries have collaborated on these multilateral forums like EU, and what are some of the potential areas in which both countries can collaborate further?
Well, about the potential areas, I would mention as earlier agriculture, and after that there are three very major areas which we must have to focus under even SIFC, which is the renewable energy, then is the telecommunication equipment and service, and then is the motorcycle market. Why? So I'm telling first about the renewable energy. It has a position itself a major player in the new world energy scenario, with its robust new renewable energy sector that has stemmed from its need to find alternative source of energy, since it depends 75% on the foreign energy. And in this way, Italy has become one of the European leader in the development of alternative energy source, and is considered one of the most attractive world market for equipment and service for renewable energy in generation. We must have to focus, and there is a focus over there in the SIFC. We must have to take part over on the renewable energy. Second opportunity for the Pakistan over the year, in Italian companies have been looking more and more at the Pakistan for trade and investment. Energy remain today the most important sector, while alternative energies including solar, wind and biogas are acquiring a growing importance in the commercial relation. Then is the telecommunication equipment service, which is very much important. It is second largest market for the telecommunication in the Western Europe, and one of the most developed. So the diffusion of the mobile phone in Italy is among the highest in the world. So with 95 million active SIM cards and more than 46 million users, which represent 3/4 of the Italian population. Furthermore, so we have to have the bilateral relationship, or of course the trade relationship over there in the telecommunications sector, so that they come over in Pakistan and we can go over for the for the 5Gs.
Right. There's a lot of potential when we talk about telecommunication, but I want to talk about renewable energy. Given the global push towards the clean energy, what are some of the potential areas in which both countries can collaborate to reduce the carbon footprint and these alternate energy resources?
As I told you earlier, that we have a biggest in Pakistan. We have a very big, infrastructure. We could have but we don't have money for that. But yes, they can collaborate in that, specifically solar, wind, and biogas. So if we produce that energy from the solar, that could per unit cost it could be 34.7%. If we produce biogas with the infrastructure, it could be just about 17.5%. And then it would be, if with the wind energy, if we make the plants over there in Balochistan, if we install these plants with the consortium of Italian companies, then we could have this 32%. And if they put the maximum investment over there in the wind energy sector in Balochistan, that we can reduce down to the 17 per unit. So it would give us the boost to our economic energy. Or of course, without power, we cannot produce manufacturing, we cannot produce a bigger size. And you talk about the reducing down the carbon footprint. It is very much important you have focus on the very significant part of the carbon footprint that we can achieve by considering these opportunity. And of course, Italy want to have this, and this is very much important. As even then, they are also working on the electric automobile industry, which is very much important. And also, it could be the alternative to the energy power problem. So as we have the high price and high spike on the petroleum and the diesel, so what we can do, we can arrangement for the automobile industry, and Italy is very good in that. So without doubt, the automobile industry is an important gear in the economic development of Italy. So they are the pioneer of that. So which generates a significant number of jobs throughout the value chain, from the design to vehicle and their component to the manufacturing and marketing of the product, finishing inside, outside the country. So we can have the collaboration within these area that could be very good. And
Right.
specifically from the biogas to energy to wind, and we must have to focus and negotiate in this area with Italy.
Of course, we must have to focus on this, but Mr. Shiryar, are there some initiatives or collaborations or projects between both countries as of now, or we still need to work towards that?
So Mariam,
Specifically when we
yeah.
talk about energy cooperation and renewable energy.
Yes, exactly. So Mariam, like one project that comes to my mind is the Triple Helix Association. That basically is an association which is based out of Rome. And what they basically do is they encourage research, innovation, and they build linkages between academia, industry, and the government. So interestingly enough, the Triple Helix Association, their South Asian chapter is based in Lahore, and that chapter is hosted by the UMT University in Lahore. So what they basically are doing is they're like encouraging and building linkages between in the industry, between the government, and between international development and cooperation as well. So this is like one area where a lot of like industry is now building linkages with the Italian universities. Other than that, in Pakistani universities as well, and research and innovation are being conducted in various like sectors. One of the areas where a lot of like cooperation and like research is going on is in obviously climate change and sustainable development, sustainable architecture. Other than that, even coming from the joint commission that you basically discussed, a lot of like research and cooperation is being done in cultural heritage and tourism as well. That's like one of the areas where like a lot of expansion is taking place. Italy, as we know, is the tourist destination of the world, and they have like done a lot when it comes to heritage and like upkeep of their like resources. And that is like one technology or like one area of cooperation that is like going on between Italy and Pakistan.
So are there some collaborations going on in these cultural exchange projects?
Yes, a lot of like collaboration. Right now it's like limited to agriculture, and we like when it comes to agriculture, why Pakistan? Because Pakistan is one of the largest exporter of rice. The basmati rice the Pakistan produces, it like goes into Italy, and Pakistan has 82% of Italian rice market. So that like area of cooperation in terms of agriculture is increasing. Again, as Dr. Jaspal and like Dr. Hassan have also like mentioned, that there's like a lot of like potential when it comes to export of Pakistani agricultural produce, and a lot of like Pakistani fruits which can like be exported to Italy, because Italy during summer especially is the hub of tourism when it comes to the European Union, and internationally millions of tourists travel to Italy every year during the summer and the tourist season. And that is like one area in which Pakistan can export or increase their agricultural and like fruits export like many folds to Italy. And that technology and like coming up to the standards that are required to export these agricultural produce and like fruits to the European market, that technology can be provided by Italy.
Of course. So when these are some of the key sectors in which both countries are collaborating, but I want to talk about multilateral cooperation within EU. Of course, Italy helped Pakistan in getting GSP plus status as well. But are there some, when we talk about pressing global issues in which both countries can collaborate within the framework of European Union?
I think that the most important area where Italy and Pakistan, and they are already cooperating and they're sensitive about it, is the climate. In the climate change, or because of what are the impacts of this climate change, both states have been facing number of the earthquakes or these kind of things, and definitely we have a area on which, or we have a consensus and we can cooperate, and definitely we learn from each other's best practices. Second is, in this case, is that as it was already pointed out by my both friends, that archaeology, and that is where Italians have a good experience. And if you go to Rome, Naples, Venice, or Milan, you will find everywhere heritage and the way they preserved, and they are, you can exploring. And Pakistan is also located at a place where there is an Indus civilization and there is a Buddhist civilization and there are many civilizations. And in this context, of course, we learn from there, and there are joint projects. If I'm not wrong, Italians have been supporting in Khyber University. There is an area study center for textile heritage and also for cultural heritages, and there they are supporting us for our students and also teachers. They are working together how to explore the heritage or old civilizations and then build a common narrative on it. This is another area where we can cooperate, but both are very important sort of thing. And a third area in this context could be, if you see that Italy is one of those countries which has been facing a lot of problems of immigration, and especially illegal
immigrants,
migration.
of course.
And many Pakistanis are also, and we can cooperate and assist each other how to stop it and how to work over it. And of course, by stopping that means not a negative, because when we work together, it will not only facilitate in saving the lives of the people who are victim of these mafias.
Provide them a legal way to actually go there.
And also prevent this illegal migration, and Italians are looking forward for that kind of, definitely they are looking forward for that kind of cooperation. So from a human trafficking to the drug trafficking, arms trafficking, or other kind of any kind of illegal movement where we can, where both states' interests are hampered, and these are certain areas where we can cooperate with each other.
Right. Of course, there are a number of sectors in which both countries are collaborating, and there is a potential as well. But Dr. Sen, can you tell us some of the challenges that have hindered ties between Pakistan and Italy, and how both countries can enhance their collaboration further?
Yes, of course. The biggest challenge for me with the economic lens, I always looking forward for the import and export balance. So if I talk about the trade between the Italy and Pakistan, and then we can identify the challenges. The total, if I talk about the total volume of the bilateral trade between Pakistan and Italy has increasingly gradually, and now it has crossed 2 billion euros, but it has the potential of $8 billion. Again, the hindrance and the problems still I don't want to repeat myself. 5 years old websites and all, and of course our I mean concern ministries must have to focus on these areas so we can get the $8 billion of the business out of it. But now so far we are losing it, but yes, still now for a crossing 2 billion of euro so far. So Pakistan Italy trade surplus soared about 97.11%. And in 2022 and 23, the period's trade surplus reached is 624.518 million, and the significant escalation of the 316.995 million recorded the previous year. So it is going little down. So Italy and the Pakistan have a potential of 4 billion bilateral trade. Moreover to it, as I said, 2 billion more so last 2 billion, and if we add the potential of 4 billion, which is the hurdle of the board of investment, we must have to focus on, and we must have to identify what are the problems. So saying perfectly double with the collective effort of both government and private sector collaboration. So import trade sector, if I talk about the leader supplier of the textile, leather, machinery to Pakistan, value adding problems, there are the sport goods by 80% quality issue, leather by the 42%. Then again, the quality issue, Sharyar was very right, because the quality assurance issues of Europe is very much concerning about
Standards
it.
are pretty
They
high.
want they want so many things from us, but we have the quality assurance quality problem. So we must have to focus on these issues, and import export licensing. I always focus on the import and export licensing. Then is a home textile. I can assure you, we have the world top most, I mean, state of the art textile, but we just not have the licensing over there. Just because of that, we are not exporting on our price. That is the financial issue. So second is the garment of by the 35%. Then is a Pakistan export of footwear, as Sharyar
Right, of
mentioned to
course,
this
we have
point, is the
already.
Italy increased by the 19%, making the Italy the third largest export destination of Pakistan footwear.
Right, of
So we
course.
must have to focus on all these issues.
Of course, we have covered all these issues, but when we talk about Pakistan's relations with Italy, what are some of the opportunities that exist to deepen these relations further?
So, Mariam, one area where Italy can really support Pakistan, because we're already using a lot of like Italian machinery when it comes to a lot of like our production and products that are exported to Italy. So I think like in this area in which Pakistan lacks, that's like the end product, the value added product that has to be developed to basically export. If Pakistan is good in developing products which are made from leather or textile, so rather than exporting the raw material or yarn or cotton to Italy, because you know Italians are like, you know, globally they're like leaders when it comes to fashion industry,
Of course.
when it comes to shoes, leather products.
Right.
So why not have those industries or have those expertise in Pakistan where we have like cheap labor, where you know the production cost is much lower than developing all of these very international high-end brands of Italy.
But we would be needing the skills development of our labor
Exactly.
as well.
So Italian
And so
development
knowledge
cooperation.
sharing and
Exactly.
exchange of
Exactly.
technology is going to be important.
So Italian development cooperation is already in Pakistan, and one of the areas where they can like further enhance and have cooperation with Pakistan is the technical and vocational training of Pakistani labor, in which they can produce all of these
Right.
products in Pakistan at an international standard, where all of these products can be developed in Pakistan
course.
in a cheaper market, and then they can be exported globally.
Of course. Briefly, Dr. Jaspal, tell us, how do you see the future trajectory of Pakistan's relations with Italy?
I think that the future trajectory between of Pakistan and Italian relations is very optimistic and promising. There are three reasons for it. First is Pakistan is becoming a state which is connecting the Eurasian region,
Of course.
and Italy is interested in investment. Second, Pakistan has a young labor available, cheap labor, which Ayar pointed out. The only missing link is how we can train it. Of course, government of Pakistan is focusing on vocational training. And the third is that we have a common cultural traits, like Italy is already hub of the tourism, and we are trying to emerge religious tourism or these kind of things. Companies like Pakistani and they can work together. So if we can start working on these areas, and that definitely already the areas in which we are cooperating.
Of course.
Definitely will
Right.
be good.
Thank you
also.
very much, Dr. Zafar Nawaz Jaspal, for joining us in today's program. Thank you very much, Mr. Sharyar Khan, for joining us in today's program. Thank you very much, Dr. Stan Javed, for joining us in today's program. Of course, in today's program, we talked about the multifaceted relations between Pakistan and Italy. There are a number of areas in which both countries are collaborating, but given the history and the strong diplomatic ties between Pakistan and Italy, the potential is huge, and both countries can collaborate on multilateral fora as well. That's all from Game Changer tonight. Take care. Allah Hafiz.